Hey you all, Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from the south, more specifically Jackson, Tennessee. And even more specifically than that, I'm in front of the home of Casey Jones. Now some of you may think I'm talking about the Ninja Turtles character that wore the hockey mask and fought with sports weapons. No, that's a different Casey Jones altogether. This is Casey Jones, the famous train engineer, known as possibly the greatest train engineer of all time. He was to train engineering what Paul Bunyan was to the lumber industry, what Johnny Appleseed was to the seed planting industry. Casey Jones was known as an engineer who could always get a train on time. He was willing to push trains to their absolute max, getting trains up to speeds of over 100 miles an hour in order to make it on that precious time. He, early in his career, gained quite a reputation when he was traveling and saw a young girl playing on the railroad track, and he whistled and tried to get her to move. She turned around and she was frozen like a deer in the headlights. So Casey Jones would crawl out of the train engine down on to the cow catcher and grab the girl and bring her to safety. And that is the thing of legends. That is something straight out of an action movie. So true heroism by one Casey Jones. And sadly, Casey Jones would end up dying doing what he was famous for, engineering a train, traveling at speeds of over 100 miles an hour. He was trying to catch up, trying to get a train on time, when suddenly there was another train ahead of him stalled on the tracks. He didn't want to kill anyone, he didn't want to hurt anyone. He told the other gentleman in the train, clear out, jump out. He got everyone out of the train, and he laid on the whistle, laid on the brake, tried everything he could to stop in time. Unfortunately, he didn't quite make it, and he was hit in the throat during the train wreck with his hand on the brake, with his other hand on the whistle. He went down with the proverbial ship trying to save lives, and he did save lives. The only casualty in the train accident was Casey Jones himself, and he has been immortalized in folk songs. There's even a Disney cartoon on Casey Jones's feats. So today brings us to his home, and there's a museum here. In fact, there's a whole complex dedicated to the famed engineer Casey Jones. So please follow me. Here is a bronze bust of Casey Jones himself, a normal looking man who did extraordinary things. These are whippoorwill whistles, make a very distinctive noise, and apparently this is one that Casey Jones would use, and when he would blow them going through towns, people would know that it was him engineering the train. So these are assorted items found alongside train tracks by a Joe Gustafson. You can see just different tags. There's some railroad spikes. And here's an exhibit on hobos, the rail riders that would ride trains across America's railway system. A lot of people think that the term hobo is a derogatory term, but it is not. Little known fact that the word hobo is actually short for homeward bound, so it doesn't necessarily have a negative connotation. This is actually from the Hobo Museum in Britt, Iowa. I've not been there, but that is definitely on the list. Here's a poster from the Casey Jones Village 2005 Hobo Gathering. You can see the names of the different hobos that were here. Queen Sunrise. Is that the Hobo King Birdman? Stretch. Yeah, love the hobo names. Hobo Santa, Double Bob. here is some of the Hobo sign language. I've never been able to find any of these in the wild, but apparently you can actually find these inscribed on a house or a fence post. That is a really awesome find. But the hobos would use this as a way to communicate to each other whether a house was safe to stay there. You can see the top hat there. It means a kind man lives here. A cat means a kind lady is there. There's a man with guns, vicious dogs, not a safe place. So yeah, they'd warn each other. Angry man's house. You don't want to stay with an angry man. Like, and other good things like free food. So very, very cool. There was almost an underground community of hobos, and this is how they communicated with one another. Let's see a delicious can of hobo soup. See some different carvings of hobos there, along with some photos of some hobos. And there is Mama Joe and Hobo Spike, the Hobo King and Queen of 2003 to 2004. And here is a model of the famed train crash that Casey Jones was in. You can see the wreckage of that caboose. It was very, very severe. Now if you look at this model, there's clearly a massive malfunction at the junction. See the two trains here stuck pointing at each other, as well as these trains here. A lot of engines in the same area. And here came Casey Jones coming up around this curve very, very quickly, and the impact zone where he hit the caboose there.
This is the site of the most famous wreck in railroad history. Casey's engine 382 crashed into the rear of the stalled train after he had slowed from 75 miles an hour to around 35 miles an hour. Because Casey stayed with his train to slow it down, all passengers and crew were saved from serious injury and death. Only one life was lost, that of Casey Jones.
And here is the actual hearse that was used at Casey Jones' funeral. So Casey Jones' body actually was laid to rest in this very vehicle. And here is Casey Jones' pocket watch. This watch was one of his prized possessions. It was actually in his pocket during the wreck, but was not damaged at all. So there you see, very personal item, the pocket watch of Casey Jones. Here's a section on Casey Jones pop culture items. You can see the little Casey Jones doll right there. And yeah, this is the Disney movie. You can see it's American Legends. And look at the company he keeps. You got Paul Bunyan, John Henry, Johnny Appleseed, and Casey Jones. Now, if that doesn't say something about his importance in American culture, though that is a good group to be grouped in with. Now, Disney included Casey Jones in their American Legends series, but they also named the train in Dumbo Casey Jr. after Casey Jones. You can see this is the Casey Jr. train with all these different Disney characters in it. And it shows the cultural importance when you have Mickey Mouse riding on the train. There's even a ride at Disneyland named the Casey Jr. Disneyland Express. And just so many little bits of culture, records, movies, books. Yeah, the folk song of Casey Jones was covered by quite a few people over the years, including the Grateful Dead. There's a Casey Jones stuffed dog. When you've made it to stuffed dog level status, you know you've made it. And look down here. There is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles character that I had referenced earlier. I don't know to what level he was based on Casey Jones, considering, you know, instead of engineering trains, he smashed people with golf clubs. But yeah, I guess maybe his name was a nod to the real life Casey Jones. Here they have a real life operational telegraph. Push this to activate. Oh. Can you hear what it's... Can anyone translate this and tell me what they're saying in telegraph language? See, they have a Prince Albert and a can jammed in there for some reason. Yeah, someone post below what they're saying. Casey Jones was famous for driving the 382 engine. This is not the original train that Casey Jones drove and was in his famous wreck with, but it is a proximity. Alright, I actually get to climb up in to the train. Oh. Yeah, that's where the coal would be placed. I know that much about trains, like, at least. And then they would store the extra coal here. And then I don't know what this operates. Maybe that would open that. I don't know. So I don't want to give a false impression of what stuff does. But I guess there'd also be a brake and a whistle in here that would be operated. If you know how a train works, post that info down below. Alright, we actually get to enter Casey Jones' home. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, Casey Jones had himself a nice little place here. Here's his piano. I do like the red wallpaper. This bedroom belonged to Casey and his wife Janie. This is where they would share intimate husband and wife time with each other. Here's the children's room. You see these little dolls, little porcelain dolls that they would play with. Oh, look at that little dapper outfit right there. Quite adorable. And what else would Casey Jones' children play with other than trains? This was a train family, and they lived trains every minute of every day. Here's the Jones kitchen. And one thing I noticed, this stove here looks like it's actually a coal burning stove. I guess if coal is good enough for a train, it's good enough for the Jones family. And here is their old-timey bathroom. You can see Casey Jones was a man's man. Of course, he needed 3 straight razors to shave. Used them all at once, presumably. And check out this bathtub. Big tin bathtub. In the gift shop, we have some other famous trains. Thomas, of course, and some train named Toodle. It's an authentic Casey Jones train whistle. Push for sound. Nice. Here is a Casey Jones penny smasher. It's shaped like a train. Put your money in there, then turn that crank to get a smashed penny to commemorate the Casey Jones Museum. Of course, if you'd like a Carpetbagger smashed penny, I sell them in my Etsy shop, and all that information is in the description. Here we have some Casey Jones shot glasses, although I would recommend do not drink alcohol before driving a train. They even have a little Casey Jones mini golf over here. Does not appear to be currently operating. We have a beautiful 1905 chapel here on the Casey Jones complex. And here on property we have this old country store and restaurant. I think there's a cafe as well. This is the Dixie Cafe. Oh, I was wondering where this was. As I've said before, every southern attraction has to have a moonshine still. And there it is, hanging from the rafters. Does anyone remember these little wax drinks? For some reason when I was a kid I loved these. It was like a shot of Kool-Aid in a wax bottle, and my parents tried to explain to me how stupid they were, but I didn't care. I loved them. Bring me more Kool-Aid wax sodas. I don't know. I think they were pretty awesome. And get some old-timey jelly beans or a baby princess. You can see the old-fashioned soda fountain over here. Here's the old Wellwood Supply and Country Store. The door is locked here. I guess we could take a little peek in the window. Oh my, who's that? We have some sort of elderly Cabbage Patch person manning the cash register. And if you don't feel like traveling by train, feel free to travel by electric car. Check out all these Tesla charging stations. Now this has nothing to do with Casey Jones, but check this out. This massive sinkhole here apparently just opened up yesterday. That's pretty terrifying. Hopefully no giant sinkholes will open up while I'm here. Appreciate you guys joining me here today at the Casey Jones Home and Museum. Casey Jones definitely seems like an underrated folk hero, a very fascinating story, a very legendary man. It's very cool to see him honored here in Jackson, Tennessee. If you'd like to see other places I've been to, please check the interactive map in the description. It'll show you all the places I've been, and you can make recommendations on where I should go next. If you'd like to support the channel, consider buying a t-shirt, consider donating to Patreon. A $3 or more donation will get you a postcard once a month. I'm also now selling smashed pennies in my Etsy shop. But until next time, this one's in the bag.